Hi and welcome to another episode. This episode's going to be a little different. Maybe it's triggering for some people. I hope it's not triggering. Most definitely was triggering to me, seeing what happened to Avid, Gardner, Fiona and Graham. When I woke up to that, flashbacks, the anxiety, the sheer terror all came back. Now, I just want to take you back 9 months ago. 9 months ago, Tom and I we were having lots of discussions, sometimes through Instagram messages, phone calls, and just general messages. There was just normal chit-chat, normal bullshit chit-chat about life, about his dad, medications, being a carer, food, cooking, just general stuff, and lots of laughs about the crap that Megan gets up to that's in the media. We had discussed something confidential. By that I mean some damning evidence that was going to be undeniable evidence that Megan could not deny. Anyhow, that's that bit of the story. You will understand as I tell you the rest of the story. And before anyone thinks or goes down any crazy rabbit holes, full disclosure, Fiona has known about this incident that's happened to me and my family since last year. So 9 months ago at 12:22 a.m. in the morning, I woke to my dog growling and 4 car doors closing. We have 2 dogs. Now I have to give you the scenario, put you through exactly what happened. We have 2 dogs that are, let's say, professionally trained. So I have a German Shepherd and I have a Staffy. The German Shepherd is my dog, will let no one come near me. I can command him to be silent. I can command him to bark in an attacking way. And the third command I hope never to have to use is to protect myself and my family. So I woke my husband up. We have 3 monitors of our CCTV in the house, 1 being in our bedroom. He quickly put the screen on. I put the one on my phone. My daughter woke up. She came down the hallway and I've shushed the dogs up. So they were silent. We were all silent. My husband, there was 2 cars, one parked in front of my house, facing north, one on the opposite side of the road, facing south. By the time he had put the cameras on, zoomed in, ironically, they were underneath one of the cameras that we could literally zoom in to where they were sitting. I thought, oh yeah, just, kids having a chat. As we were watching, my daughter standing there with the other dog, I've handed her my phone and said, text the neighbour, see if she can, from her, because she's up late all the time, from her window, if she could get me a rego number from the car, because we couldn't get the registration from where they were situated. And we have 18 cameras at our home. So she's doing that on the phone. As we're zooming in, watching, they put on screen masks. With that, my daughter gave me the phone back. I said to her, get in your room, take the dog, the Staffy, with her and lock your door and call the police. And she was panicking. As soon as I said they're putting masks on, she started panicking. And I said, no, please don't cry right now. Please just call the police. And she's like, what do I say? And I said, you need to say 5 suspects. Possible home invasions, masks. We don't know if they've got weapons. So she went off in her room and called the police. Meanwhile, I've got hold of my German Shepherd by the collar, and he's still in the command of quiet, do not growl, do not bark, do not do anything, don't breathe, basically. And my husband, well, all I'm going to say he was prepared. That's all I'm going to say about that. So they got out the car. We have this all obviously on CCTV, and they started coming up the driveway, sorry. With that, my husband was going to basically unleash on them and open the door. As soon as I knew his position that he was going to take, I commanded the dogs to let loose, as in to bark their heads off. With that, these 5 subjects got back in their car and gone. 10 minutes, the police were there. They had the police dog. They searched the area. There was nothing. And where my property is situated, unfortunately, there's a lot of ways to get out of the area very quickly, and because they were in 2 vehicles, they had a better chance of getting away. My neighbour could only get most of the registration from her window, bar the last number of the registration. So we've run that through, we've tried to get the rego of that car, but unfortunately we couldn't. Now, in my husband and my work, we deal with dodgy characters every day. But when it's at your home, your safe space, the place you're meant to feel comfortable and safe and whatever, it's a different ball game. It's a completely different ball game. It's not, it's not an on-the-job thing or dealing with people outside of your home. It's your home. You should be able to feel safe. The very next morning, it's important for me to go through these steps so you can see the series of events. The very next morning, we didn't sleep that night. Obviously, my heart was pounding out my chest. My daughter was beside herself. We are just normal, define normal, but we are just everyday human beings. We work, we pay our bills, we don't drink, we don't do any substance abuse. We're actually quite boring, but we couldn't figure out why us. Was it random? Obviously the police are a different unit of the force. Was looking through the CCTV and we're thinking, did we get followed home from work? Is it this? Is it that? And all this stuff goes through your head. But the quite obvious that was staring me in the face. 3 days before this, I had some suspicious activity on my card, and the bank, my key card, the bank had contacted me and said, have you done these transactions in California? And I said, of course not. I'm here, So that had to be, my card had to be stopped and a new one issued. Didn't think anything of it. Like, seriously, you can get scammed any time with key cards. Didn't think a thing of it. The very next day after this incident, I was alerted that someone was coming up my driveway. So I went to look, and it was a familiar reporter that I know of coming up to the door with their mic, and all that came out of her mouth was, can I just ask you a few questions about Tom Jr.? And my dog started barking, and I went, no, and she ran down, and we have that footage. She ran down she quickly ran off, because when a German Shepherd barks, you don't want to be around them. They are loud. Now, I thought, what? Why is she asking me? And this is what triggered. Why is she asking me about him? Like, I thought she was at the door because, as most people know, reporters use a police scanner to get most of their news. If there's a house fire, a car accident, a break in and enter, etc., they're first on the scene. So I just sat there for a minute and thought, why did she ask me about that? And I recognised the reporter. So I then called my friend from the same network and asked them, such and such was here asking me this. Do you know anything about this? And if you know how news reporters work, they can be very stingy with their reporting. Like one might not say something to the other because they want to get the breaking news. They want to be the person that breaks the news. So sometimes there's no communication between them. Sometimes they keep things under wraps just so they are the person that breaks the story. So the reporter that I contacted from the same network did not know why this particular reporter was there. There was no talk in the office, etc. I then called Tom and told him what happened. I was pretty shaken still, of course, as you would be. And I told him about the reporter, and he goes, well, why would they be there? And I said, I don't know. This is what I'm asking you. Why would they be there? The police were still obviously, a different unit was obviously looking into the events that happened, that early hours of the morning. I decided to appoint a private investigator, someone who I've used for many, many years for different things, someone I could trust, someone I knew that would get me information ASAP. Tom didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. But then I had recalled 2 days prior, my card was used in California. And I had a sneaky suspicion. I just had a sneaky suspicion. So I appointed this private investigator. At the same time, interestingly enough, I had the YouTube channel called Meghan Markle, aka Duchess Pinocchio. I had put out a video that went viral. People took recordings of it, and it went viral about Harry is going to make a statement. It's going to go through Buckingham Palace to set the story straight about the alleged children. But then Meghan cracked up and it didn't go through. So I'd done a video about that, and 2 male YouTubers were literally hammering the channel, calling me all these names, and I was like, I don't even know who you are, for starters. And so then I went to their YouTube channel, and they spoke a little bit about Meghan, but it was other stuff as well, and I was like, interesting. I put that on the back burner because it was odd. So then I obviously appointed this private investigator, and I got the first email was, where is it? And I sent this email to Tom straight away because we didn't know what the hell was going on. So then my private investigator gets back to me pretty much, I think it took close to a week. And it reads, Dear, my name obviously, as per phone call, we have allocated the VPN to an address of area code 93150. There seems to be more than one VPN on the property. We are currently in talks with the authorities in that country to verify the dwelling owners, as there is privacy laws in each state, country or county. We have to adhere to them and the Privacy Act. We ensure that the information will be released to you as soon as it becomes available. I'm thinking we are dealing with people/persons of a protected type. By this I mean well-known person/persons. For that matter, we must deal with this carefully. The Australian authorities will be notified as per your instructions. We've been informed by you that you would like to proceed to gather as much information as possible, and that you will then contact your lawyer as to the next steps. Please keep your communications open in phone and emails, as we endeavour to have information relayed to you as it becomes available. Sincerely, the private investigator. I sent that to Tom. And then, of course, the penny dropped. I Googled that area code, postcode we call them here, whatever you call them over there. Ironically, it was Montecito. As soon as Tom was actually with his dad at the time, and Tom read it, and they both went, that's Montecito. They're from the area. They know straight away, straight up. Now, what happened after these emails and communications, and it's some communications I've had to go into the office for, because the private investigator's office, because we had then realised that the phones were hacked, because I was having threatening messages through Instagram about keep away from Tom, or you're going to be next, and all this kind of weird stuff. It was like, and I had asked Tom, I said, have you got some crazy women thinking that there's something going on here? Because there's, we are simply just friends, for God's sake. But then we knew our phones were hacked. We had run that. We had realised, and things went on to know that the phone were hacked. Hence why also my card was hacked. So we then obviously put different security. They must be a very, very, and I've got to stipulate this, they must be a very, very good organised crime syndicate, because they broke through a very, very, what we thought, secure protection. Now that rang even bigger alarm bells with where I work. Because if you have this security that I had on my phone, I'm not talking about Tom's phone, on my phone, how did they crack that? So then that went to a different team in the force to investigate, because now we're talking people that are just not your everyday Joe blogs sitting at home hacking into someone's phone for whatever reason. We're not talking about that now. As the investigations was going on, obviously we couldn't say much or nothing at all. I did a video about there's a cat amongst the pigeons. I had no connections with no one on YouTube, nothing. No, I don't speak to anyone at that time. I didn't speak to anyone on YouTube at all. So I wanted to put out a video out there to say, hey, just be careful, because there's 2 male YouTubers, that they are not who they seem. You need to be careful. You need to be really cautious, because they are dodgy as shit. And they are, well, let's say, working for money from that place, that area code. And we're going to call them to our suspects. This has been a roller coaster over 9 months. I'm not going to back down. I'm not scared of her. But when people come to your home, we're dealing with different situations here. Unfortunately, here in Australia, the average resident does not have the power to protect themselves in their own home. Even if my dog, and my dog is a 60-kilo professionally trained German Shepherd, if that 60-kilo German Shepherd is coming for your throat, you are not going to fare well. But here, he will be put down for that. I don't want to risk my dog. I really don't. yeah, I'd probably end up in jail for my dog. You don't have that power here. There is ways, which I'm not going to go into here, obviously, but there is ways that you can protect yourself legally in your own home. Sometimes when, overseas, that people that can protect themselves in their own home have one up than other people. These perpetrators, alleged perpetrators that came here, there was 2 female, 3 male. After when we went through the CCTV, we could see them obviously getting out one car, getting in the other car, and them getting out that car, coming up the driveway, and then obviously going down the driveway and into their cars. 3 were Sudanese, 2 were Caucasian. It appears that there seems to be a syndicate worldwide of people to cause harm. Interestingly enough, then, when we had some evidence of what was happening, Tom put out a video to say to people, hey, this is happening, blah, 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 which I'll link under this one, of the events that happened 9 months ago and how he was trying to warn people. And I think a lot of the time some people don't probably comprehend the enormity of what is actually happening. I mean, it's really mind-boggling to think that there's crazed people out there that will do absolutely anything for the Black Queen. It's bizarre. It doesn't seem real. Like, it's so far-fetched that it doesn't appear real. But this is a reality. What triggered that event that happened was the fact that something happened here in Australia that there is refutable evidence that we had spoken about. It's not till later that things clicked, that we had spoken about on the phone, that they didn't want to get out there. We didn't know that at the time, obviously, and it wasn't until everything was pieced together and all our messages were printed off and whatever else. You know that if you delete messages, we can get them retrieved. Telecommunications will retrieve them with a warrant. So it was absolutely gobsmacking. And like I said, Fiona has known about this incident since last year. When I woke up to her video, my alarm bells went. I mean, coincidence? No. There's been many of these events happening with these 2 persons of interest from that address that really shakes you to the core. It's been a huge trigger to see what's happened to Fiona and Graham. It's disgusting, especially, they came here 12:22 a.m. They went there during the day. How brazen are these people? How brazen are they? What lengths will they go to? What has struck a chord with me with Fiona's is that it was 5 days after she did a live with Tom. Mine was a week to the day that we had discussed a certain thing on the phone that could have been detrimental to the 2 people of interest. Make that what you will. But isn't it ironic? Now, I'm not a person that's going to back down. We want to take this to mainstream media. I do, like I said, have someone I could totally trust. But we've decided not to. We've decided that some non-mainstream media people, influential people, will be the bearer of good news. Good news being that we have evidence, and I can't show you all the evidence, but I can in a video show you all the evidence that all roads lead to Rome. Well, they think it looks like an Olive Garden and they think it looks like Rome, but it's not. Why would two people of their stature in society stoop to this level? They're not really afraid of anything. I have written to the king, pen and paper. I've also emailed the king. I know he's read them because I have had some return emails. It's kind of really distressing knowing that these people, and this is the reason why as well I went back to the States late last year, for a visit apart from a family wedding. I'm frustrated. I'm really, really frustrated at the fact that two people like them are literally terrorizing people. Now, at the time that Tom, I just want to mention something, and I think this is quite important, to be honest. And, love them or loathe them, whatever. This is why I say that, to me personally, whatever they said in interviews 8 years ago is irrelevant to me, because there is, I don't know, it might be relevant for other people, and everybody has their right to think whatever and, to form an opinion, etc. Obviously, we all have that right. But me personally, I have bigger fish to fry. There's a bigger scheme here than, a photo that might be tampered with. I mean, seriously, anyone can tamper with a photo. It could be Megan, it could be her staff, it could be a person from the community, it could be a sugar to put you off the scent, it could be this one to go, look over here, let's pretend you're looking at these photos while we're home invading people and setting people's houses alight and blah, blah, blah. That's why I say in some of my videos, those things don't concern me, and that's my prerogative. I have bigger fish to fry, and getting to the bottom of why there's criminals walking around being paid by a fake black queen and her little pompous little prick. We've got people in court that threaten to bomb Buckingham Palace, for God's sake. Look at all the YouTubers that have been harassed, have been threatened. And I'm not talking about threats in comments and, people calling you names in comments and blah, blah, blah. They are really irrelevant. Look at what they've done to Avid Gardner. Sorry, Fiona and Graham. Look at what they've done to the family. Threatening to put a bullet in their heads. torturing the poor daughter. Her husband has cancer, for God's sake. And you've got these scum of the goddamn earth torturing them. For what? I'm sure Megan's not paying oodles of dollars to be doing this shit. But you know what's even more ironic? Megan would be the first one to turn on those people. You can see her track record with her actual staff. These undermined staff members doing the dirty work, you know, behind the scenes, terrorising people. She's going to be the first to turn her back on them. This is how stupid these people are that are working for her. I'm not going to back down until they are held accountable, for one, for what they've done to many people on the internet and what they continue to do, and until those children are proven to actually be in the line of succession. I'm not going to back down. I mean, why would I? Why would anybody? Everybody's gone too far to back down. I'm not one to back down. It's disgusting. I'm utterly disgusted. Terrorising Fiona and Graham like that. Terrorising Yankee Wally. Terrorising Trevor Colt to the point he lost his marriage. Trying to make him unalive himself. Harry and Meghan are not worth that. How are they worth that, doing that to people? At the time this happened, and I was in talks with Tom Jr., he said to me, have you seen a video that TRG has put out? And I hadn't at the time, even though I followed her for a long time. So I watched it. And he has said it in his video that I'm going to post under this video. And I said to him, well, get in contact with her. Do you have a way of getting in contact with her? You know, tell her that we're gathering evidence. She's absolutely correct in what she's saying. Tom didn't know how to get a hold of her. I said, well, look, you, at the time he was on different YouTubers' channels, etc. And I said, maybe ask one of them. Like, I don't know how it works. Does she have an email address? Is she on this? Is she on that? I don't know. I don't know how to get in contact with these people. I don't know them. I don't know any of them. And he couldn't get a hold of her. I said, well, that's a bit of a shame because she's absolutely onto something here. And we need to let her know. I wasn't going to just hop on her comments and tell her this, that, and the other. I mean, I hardly comment on anyone's channel. I actually tell a lie. I commented on one of Fiona's lives and told Trevor Colt to propose to his girlfriend. Oops, my bad. Anyhow, he couldn't get in contact with TRG, and I was like, well, she needs to know because that girl is on to what's happening here. Anyway, that went to the wayside, and obviously he didn't contact her, but this is what's been happening for the last 9, near 10 months. An arrest would be great. Yeah. Well, when you're dealing with protected persons, shall we say, it's kind of interesting how it has to be orchestrated. Let's put it that way. Will they be charged with what they've done to all these people? I do believe that there is a consensus, and I'm trying not to say too much, but I want to tell you, let's just say an operation that hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, legs crossed, eyes crossed, that will connect all the dots with other criminal activity that other people have reported, and that it'll collectively come into one basket and be delivered to the doorstep it needs to be delivered to, with what we call a paddy wagon, a police wagon, and some handcuffs. Let's put it that way. I cannot believe that Diane Durham threatened to take a bomb and blow up Buckingham Palace. Is that the most stupidest thing? It's a terrorist act. Considering she had said she was going to carry that device on a train. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people like that in the world. I mean, you can only see on the news if you ever watch it. I hardly ever watch it anymore. But if you do, you can see, someone wants to become a hero, so they're just going to blow up a heap of people, or someone was bullied at school, so they're going to take a firearm into a school and kill people because they want to be a hero. They want to go out like a hero. It's repulsive. Absolutely repulsive. Anyway, that's my daily chat. My heart literally goes out to Fiona and Graham because they don't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves anyone to go to their home and be threatened, or it's bad enough when people threaten you online, and like I said, it doesn't bother me, but other people might be scared, or it shouldn't be done. Like, why do you think these two numbnuts want IPP security? Because they don't want to be convicted of any crime. They don't want to have to answer to anybody. They don't want to have the public backlash that the public backlash is going to give them when those two children are proven that she did not carry them. And when crimes come to light that these two have committed, for God knows what reason. What reason? I mean, he's a prince, for God's sake. How high does he want to go? Does he want to rule the world? Like, it's just really pisses me off. Like, really pisses me off. Like, really, really threatening people's lives like this is... It's not right. It is not right. Absolutely not right. But they seem to think they're going to get away with it. I, for one, am glad that they seem to think that they're going to get away with it. Anyhow, talk to you guys soon. I've babbled on enough. Give some love to Fiona and Graham because, like I said, nobody needs it. But it's terrifying. Bye for now. Have a lovely day.